Here in this passage, we have two women, and their life circumstances could not have been any more different. First, we have Lydia, who is a very wealthy woman. That is clear from the text. She is a business person. She is a woman who owns property and can host the church in her home. Interestingly, the text leaves very ambiguous whether Lydia is a Jew or a Gentile, but it is very clear, even in that ambiguity, about her own identity, that she is a follower of the Jesus movement at this point. And then we have someone in an extremely different life position, a slave girl. This is someone who was not only not wealthy, but her own body was made a commodity. She was owned by human masters, and she had been overtaken by a spiritual dominance, a spirit that moved her body. But even in that possession of her body, in both of those ways, she is going around following Paul and Silas, announcing their mission. She's crying out that they are slaves to the Most High God, and they proclaim to you the way of salvation. And Paul and Silas, interestingly, move to liberate her from her spiritual enslavement, casting this demon out of her, not because they hear a voice from God telling them to do this, or they feel compassion and moved in their spirits to help this woman. They liberate her spiritually because they're annoyed by her. The text makes that very clear, which struck me as I was reading that this morning. But interestingly here, I want you to notice that when they move to liberate her spiritually, casting this demon out that has been controlling her body, it also has economic implications for those human masters who have been controlling her body for their own economic gain. That there are economic implications to this spiritual action that the apostles take with regard to this slave woman. And very importantly, when she is liberated, there are consequences for the apostles who enact that liberation with her. They are arrested and put into prison, or dragged into the marketplace before the authorities. Now, the other thing I want to bring up today, because it's the way this whole passage is set up, is that Paul travels to Lydia because in the night he had a vision. And I know from hearing from some of you that during this pandemic you've been having unusual dreams. And dreams can be really important things to pay attention to. Not that they are direct messages from God all the time, but that they are saying something to you and about your experience during this time. I want to read you this quote here from Willie Jennings about dreams in this passage, and invite you to think about the dreams that you are having. Jennings says, dreams and visions are not counter to the concrete realities of this world, but rather they present this world in its fullness. Dream and vision are from God, but also bound to our bodies, and they constitute a concourse for the activity of the Holy Spirit. So as we continue in this time together, I invite you to pay attention to the dreams you're having, and to really spend some time thinking about what those dreams are saying to you, about your anxieties, about your hopes, about the people in your life that you love and are concerned about, and even perhaps what those dreams are suggesting to you about the type of ministry that you are called to at this point. It may not be clear and evident in your dream as it was to Paul, this man from Macedonia, saying, come over here. But there may be some hint in that dream, in that in between space between the spirit and your body, that there's a message that you need to pay attention to. And I invite you to do that as you continue in this period of precarity and possibility.